Oh, we are recording.
It is working. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is David Knox coming to you live. I'm in Minneapolis where it's cold and rainy, and we've got people in about every time zone. So welcome to the first Monday Administrator and Manager webinar, Monday, May 1, 2017. Let's get started. Let's take a look at what's going on in the future. Our next webinar is going to be Monday, June 5th, 2017. So put that on your calendar. And as you know, we'll send out information on that. Today, we'll talk about the May 27, 2017 videos that we've uploaded. We're going to talk about videos coming soon, not to be confused with our guest presenter, Marcie Roggow, on listings coming soon. Now, every time I post a video and say coming soon, it's going to look like that stupid listing coming soon. Well, we'll deal with that. Here's the email that went out to everybody. You know, the big question is, how do we get more engagement from our agents? We put this email together at the beginning of every month. We usually send it out on Friday, Saturday, Sunday before, so they have plenty of time for it. And we do not email to your agents ever again. We will not do that. We email only to administrators and managers. And I think within each company, you'll need to decide who is in charge of forwarding that. But the email shows all the videos that are coming. The first video is the What's New for May. It's a short video that they ought to watch. So be sure you let your agents know about that. These are the videos for the month. Obviously, we begin with What's New for May 2017. And I'm going to switch to the website. We're going to test technology today. On the What's New for May, remember, this is the place where you get the topic list. And I still think our best TV guide is probably the topics by curriculum in PDF format. We're up to 421 videos. And on the top, you can see the videos that have come soon or that are new this month, and we put them bold down here. But it's a nice thing to print out and take a look to see what we have in each category. So I encourage you to print that out. In fact, why not, download the thing, and you could even email it to your agents so they could take a look at it. So in our Knox First Tuesday, number 109, listings coming soon. Deanne Golden had said, we're having some real challenges with it in the Georgia area. And I've talked to some other people about it. And they said, would you do a video on it? So we got on it. We did some research. We talked to some experts in the industry. The number one expert is on our webinar today, Marcie Roggow. And we put together this video, listings coming soon. And obviously you can click on the outline. It is a little bit longer. It's 15 minutes, 40 seconds. We thought about putting it into two parts. And I said, no, for those people for whom it's an important topic, suck it up and watch the 15 minutes. Then we went out and we videotaped agents and brokers and managers and just, had them do a 90-second, 2-minute, like, hey, what do you think of coming soon listings? And boy, we got everything from the neutral to in favor to against. So you can watch that. This video is 11 minutes, and we're going to upload a couple more minutes today. But I think for those of you who are dealing with the listings coming soon, I think you'll find it to be pretty good coverage. And finally, I know I've been teasing you guys with the Venus Morris Griffin. Here's the lady who 8 years ago, she discovered her husband had a double life. He was sent to prison. They were divorced. She was left 200 grand in debt with 6 children, no place to live. It is absolutely a devastating story. But the turn from her being upside down, backwards, she could have given up and people would have probably forgiven her. And she turned it around and doubled her income just about every year over these periods. And last year she did $1 million. She paid her assistant more than most agents make. Her lead assistant made 160 grand. So it is a powerful story. And in the first short segment, 8 minutes, 37 seconds, you will hear how Venus started and the hole that she was in her life and how she came out of it. And then, of course, the next question is, how did you get out of it? What did you do specifically? In fact, I haven't even checked the comments here. Look at that first comment from Ben, a must-watch video, a good story. And we're going to continue with these. We'll have quite a few of them, by the way, but she is an amazing lady. And I think it's a tremendous story for everyone to share with your agents. Then it was Men's Day in our club. I think I mentioned to you before, these 5 gentlemen, they call themselves the Amigos. Really top guys around the U.S. and they came into our studio to shoot a video for themselves. And I said, hey, while you're here, how about you contribute to our online training? And they agreed. And quick tip 42 was on how to get listings in this market. Quick tip 43 was how they convert leads. So some of the best video we've ever put up are now available to you. So we're going to keep you busy on sales meetings and training session. So and then coming soon, the Venus Morris Griffin that I just showed you. We've got more on her interview. We have 3 listing presentations from beginning to end. And I just got done editing one of them from beginning to end, and our other 2 editors have done the same thing. So you're going to see each of the 3 listings from the time she gets out of her car till the time she leaves. And we're also going to do little segments, but for somebody who just wants to see what she does from car to car, I think it's going to be fascinating. Now, those will be a little bit longer, but I think they're important. You're going to see team interviews with her family. She'll talk about lead conversion. So agent engagement. I understand the frustration. Anybody who is a member of our training is the kind of company that invests in their agents. You've got CRM, you got neighborhood software, CRM software, on and on and on. You have so many things, so many plates spinning. And the challenge is, how do I get my agents to use it all? And our video is kind of good news, bad news. The good news is you can measure it. The bad news is sometimes you can measure it. If you could measure every service that you subscribe to, you might find that the engagement of your agents is just low on everything. So we consider our challenge not only to provide good content, but to help you get engagement. And obviously, as I mentioned before, the way to begin is at least send out the monthly new video email. And you can click forward and then bring in your broadcast list and get your agents to watch it. Maybe you followed up with your own deal. We have a Facebook group page, which if you go to the What's New video, you can see the link to that. Absolutely show it in meetings. I've talked to a lot of companies who've cut back their sales meeting from weekly to monthly to never. And people say, well, I don't do sales meetings anymore. I go, why not? They say, well, nobody comes. That's because your meetings are not of value. You're not giving them anything of value. So I encourage you to get your agents together once a week, start on time, end on time, and pick a video and show it. Our quick tips, they're only a couple of minutes long. If you have not set up a custom curriculum, call me. I'll help you set it up. David Rickle from Pennsylvania called me up and said, I'm doing a bunch of presentations on prospecting, on sources of business. Would you help me set up a curriculum? And I said, absolutely. And I went in, I logged into his site, I picked out the videos, I ordered them, put them in sequence. And within, 45 minutes, I emailed him back, said, David, there it goes. He goes, wow, that was great. So I will do that for you. And if you have not cloned our accountability plans, you are missing the most powerful feature we have ever created. So what you all need to do, if you haven't done this, go to accountability, manage accountability, see the templates that I've created for you, preview the templates, open up the chapters and look at the videos and the tasks and see if you like it. If you like it, click clone. And then after you click clone, you can, let's go back here. When you click clone, it drops down to the bottom. And you may make all your edits to it. And you can click on structure, you can change the name, you can change the opening paragraph, all the segments and sections, you can move up and down, put them in any order you want, rename them, renumber them, whatever you'd like to do, and then click update plan. And then if you click edit, you can go into the real detail where now you can change the descriptions, you can change the videos that are selected, you can delete the ones I put in, you can personalize your task. Now there is, in fact, if you want to learn more about this, go to Manage Your Resources, go over here to RET Accountability Plan Flyer. That's more the benefit flyer to tell you how it's cool and how you use it. And then you can click on this one right here and open the tutorial. And it shows exactly how to clone and save and edit and do all that stuff. Having done that, the next step is to enroll agents. And you just click on, you pick a plan, click on enroll agents, click the checkbox in front of their name, they're enrolled. The next step is to go into progress reporting. You can click on their name, see when they watched the video, when they completed the task, and which actions they've reported back. And I'm just blowing through this really quickly just so you know what it can do. I am happy to do a private webinar for you to show you how to set these up. But I've scrolled through to see who's cloned these and who hasn't, and more of you have not done it than have. And And then at the same time, you'll say, well, gosh, my agents aren't watching. And I said, well, have you done any of these things? And I've had people say, no, I used to show at meetings, but I don't show it anymore. No, we don't have a custom curriculum. I haven't cloned accountability plan. I said, well, you know, if you don't do anything, they won't do anything. And always, you may Skype me into a meeting. And if you haven't used Skype, call me. I'll show you how to use it. I'll help you download it, set it up, and we can do a two-way video conference. If you want to use Google Hangouts, that's fine. And I could probably even use a phone booth. And by the way, video is 30 frames a second. Webinars are 15, so it probably looks like my hand is jerking across. But on Skype, it comes across much better than this. Webinars, it's not quite as good. So, and I will do a management webinar to get your managers engaged, or I'll do an agent webinar. I'll do just about anything to help you guys get more engagement. So please, please, please take advantage of what we'll do for you. Okay, now it is time for our guest speaker. I've known Marcie Roggow for many, many, many years, and she is a wonderful human being. She's a talented lady. She is highly, highly professional. She is my go-to person when I want to know, you know, what's the right way to do things. She's been in the business since '71, and she has been involved in political affairs, license law, professional standards, risk management, all that stuff that keeps us honest in the business. She was one of the first regional VPs for the CRS and has served on almost every committee for the CRS, Certified Residential Specialist. And I remember she and I have been millions of meetings together over the year. Currently, Marcie is the vice chairman, Marcie, got to change that to chairwoman of the Professional Development Committee of CRB. She served on the board of directors of both of these organizations. And today she writes customized courses for her clients and has written elective courses for both CRB and CRS. So she is the master. So Marcie, how are you?
I'm good, dear. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for your contribution to the Knox First Tuesday number 109, and also your participation in this. So you were kind enough to put together a PowerPoint presentation, and I've incorporated it in here. So if you are ready, we're going to start. Oh, before we start, for all of you listening, find your little questions area. And just as a test, just type anything in it. You can type in a period, you can type in a hi, whatever, because I want you to get on any questions that you have on the coming soon listings, because just in the interest of time, I don't want to wait till the end and then pause forever and wait. So if you know you have some questions, please type them in. Bill, thanks for typing something in there. So Marcie, your opening slide coming soon. How would you like to begin? Marcie, what are your opening comments on this?
Well, that is a picture of a coming soon sign in a Board of Realtors office a couple of years ago, actually. And I said, wow, that's really a moneymaker, isn't it? And they said, well, we got to sell them out because all of a sudden they're going to make this illegal. So sometimes you see the coming soons in the stores at the board offices, and sometimes you don't. But one of the things that I think, I had a long talk yesterday with a really, really great agent from Virginia, and we were discussing coming soon, and it's not legal in their marketplace. And so I said, but do you still see it? And she said, we see it in very unique ways. So I think coming soon, whether it's approved in your MLS or approved by your license law or approved by the Code of Ethics, those are the first three things you've got to talk about before you can even go buy the sign or to do any advertisement. Those are the three guiding factors: MLS, state law, and ethics.
Law, ethics, MLS. Okay.
Correct.
And you let me know when you want to advance the slide, Marcie. I'll let you kind of lead me.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the questions that always comes up when I'm doing a social media risk management course for brokers is, well, but it really works. It's really profitable. And I said, yes, it is. But there are risks.
So is robbing a bank.
Yeah. Well, yeah, depending upon the bank, but there are risks involved in it. And if it's not legal where you are, then there's more than risk, there's loss. So you have to just say, what are the consequences? Is it worth doing? So when you and I were talking, Dave, before you did your video, I gave you some examples of where it is working, it's profitable, it's within the legal within the code of ethics and everything, and people are happy with it. There are just as many stories where somebody has done it and has been then turned in for violating it. So every broker just has to look at it and say, is the profit worth it? What are the risks? And would there be a loss in case it's done wrong? You can go ahead.
Okay. So
What comes into play for ethics is Article 3 of the Code of Ethics. And of course, this has been here, look at, since 1995. And one of the reasons it came about in 1995, David, was that's when we really got deep into buyer representation. And that was the first time that a lot of boards and associations of realtors were ever facing the fact that there could be a quote, quote, buyer's agent. So when subagency went away and buyer representation came in, we had to go to Article 3 and change it and say, look, just because they're a buyer's agent doesn't mean that you don't cooperate with them. You have to cooperate with anybody that will help you sell the seller's home. So that's why it's 1995. A lot of people didn't realize that that's why that had changed. So realtors shall cooperate with other brokers, except when cooperation is not in the client's best interest. So we always stop there and say, well, when could that possibly even occur? And there are, believe it or not, instances where that would be true. There could be sellers, no, back to 3. There could be sellers who say, I don't want other brokers in here. There could be sellers that said, because of a situation with my work or because of who I am, I really want this just an exclusive listing with your company. I'm not interested in other brokerages selling it. And we have had situations where there maybe was a problem between a seller and another real estate brokerage in town, and they just didn't want them there. So the seller gets to decide if it's in their best interest or not you. And then the obligation to cooperate does not necessarily include the obligation to share commissions, fees, or otherwise compensate. So that's where you run into maybe, since I'm in Naples, Florida, we are the Southwest Florida MLS, and we allow other brokers from across the state to show our listings. In Florida, we have kind of a unique situation. We've all signed on that we'll pay, but just let's say that we didn't. And if somebody from Miami came over, we can cooperate, which means show, but not necessarily compensate. So that's how that broke down. But the Standard of Practice 310 really brought it to the forefront when we put this in 2011. The obligation to share information on listed properties and make it available to other brokers for showing to prospective purchasers when it's in the best interest. And so when we put that in, it followed an MLS rule that said that if you're saying that the property can't be shown until May 15th, that means it can't be shown by anyone. So now you can go to the next slide, which is Article 12. Where it says we have to be honest and truthful in the real estate communications and present a true picture in our marketing. So the true picture is, if it can't be shown in your MLS, it says it cannot be shown until May 15th. That means it cannot be shown by you, anyone in your company, or anyone else until May 15th. And so the coming soon wasn't so much the problem, I don't think, David, as much as it was the people who were violating the coming soon that started causing the problem.
I heard that a lot when I was, in various seminars and asking. Pretty much everybody said that, maybe we could be okay with it, but nobody follows the stupid rules. And by the way, one other question, because I know it's going to come up right about now. You tell me if it's the right place to bring it up. That's curbside offer. Somebody drives by and they say, well, you can't see it. And they go, well, I'm going to write an offer on it anyway.
Yeah, you can do that. So that, in fact, that happened in a listing down in Austin. The people got out of their car. The buyers saw the sign, got out of their car. The painters were inside. They wouldn't let the buyers in, but the buyers peeked through every single window, looked in the door, went and called their agent and said, we found the house we want to buy. The agent called the listing agent. Listing agent said, I'm sorry, we can't let you in. It says May 15th. And they said, well, we're going to write an offer. And he said, how much are you listing it for? And he told him how much he was going to list it for. And sure enough, here came the offer. And it was over full price. And the sellers signed it, and away they all went. So it happens.
And how does that fit into the rules? Is that
the house was never shown? Not until after the offer was negotiated, and then it was made subject to them getting inside and doing inspections.
right?
But, you know, it was just one of those situations where if you've got a property that's in a specific market that people are anxious to get into and it met this particular buyer's qualifications, they were fine. They just wanted to write the offer, and you have a license law that says you have to present all offers. So he had to present it. He couldn't say, I can't accept offers till May 15th. He had to present it. That's what the license law says. And the seller said, you know, that's more money than we ever expected to get for it. We think this is a good deal. We don't have to show it. Sign that baby.
Okay. So no rules were violated.
No.
All right. All right. Next slide.
Yep.
Okay.
So here we go. The question always is, are they legal in your area? And if it's legal in your area, then you have to say, great, we can do it. Our MLS allows it. The law says if we've got a listing agreement, we can advertise. The question is, who are they serving? And that's the conversation, David, you and I had back and forth, and I know you had with all the people you interviewed. Who are they serving?
Right.
So I always like to look at it two different ways. Would it breach the fiduciary duty to the seller if you did it? And what about if the seller agrees? So I go to list a property and it needs a lot of work. And I say to the seller, you can list it right now and get this amount. Or if we do repairs and do this and this, you can get much more. Which would you prefer? Well, they would much more. And I said, okay, so what we'll do is we'll sign the listing agreement now. You'll sign that these are the things you're going to do in order to get this price. We'll work on those things until May 15th. And in the meantime, I will share that this listing is going to be coming available to the MLS. And that's the key. Coming soon to what? Coming soon to the MLS, coming soon to the open market, coming soon to what? So I will let them know that on May 15th, this property will be available on the MLS and they'll be available for showing.
I'm going to stop there for a second because right there is a key point. When you list it, let's say the rule says it's got to be in MLS in 48 hours, but the photos can't even be taken because it's not clean for a week.
Right.
How do you get by not putting it in the MLS?
Because on every listing agreement, it says, and if it's not going in within 48 hours, why not? And the seller has to sign that they agree to that.
Okay. All right. That was one of the questions.
Yep. So if you've explained to the seller that that's how it's going to work, and the seller agrees. So the situation that I shared with you, one of my favorite ones, is that an agent in Austin, Texas has perfected this. So he goes out on the listing appointment. They determine what they're going to do to the house to make it more valuable. They work on it for the 2-week period of time or whatever it is that it's going to take. And then he's got a sign in the front yard that says coming soon. And he has a flyer box. I know that's not something people use a lot, but it could have a website or something that says, these are the details on this day. And it's typically a Saturday in the morning. I'm going to be holding an open house where brokers may show this listing to their buyers. At noon will be the public open house until 4. And on Sunday, there will be a public open house from 1 to 5. He then has the house ready to go on Friday night. He sends his sellers to a hotel room. They stay there Friday night and Saturday night. He tells them not to come home until Sunday at 5. And typically by the time they get home Sunday at 5, there are several offers. He puts it in the MLS on Friday. He has sent out letters to anyone who had a listing in that neighborhood or had sales in that neighborhood over the last 3 months. He markets it actively to agents. It goes in the MLS. He has agents who have called him and said, I want to be there at 9 o'clock showing it on Saturday morning. He says, that's fine. Seller is not going to be available until Sunday. If you bring me offers, they will be presented, but the seller's just not available. And so he is meeting the guidelines. He is working on behalf of the seller. And his fiduciary duty lies to the seller. If another agent sells it, he's just fine with that because the seller is happy as can be. He doesn't have to show the house anymore. He's delighted. So that's a really cool way of doing coming soon. The other side of coming soon is when you decide that you want to be greedy and you're not going to be fulfilling your fiduciary duty to the seller, and you get the listing and you share it all around with the agents in your office, telling them, don't tell anybody else. This is just kind of one of our secret little listings. And when it goes on the market on Saturday morning, we're all going to go over there and start showing it on Friday, and we'll get it sold before Saturday. Well, you know what? That's not exposing it to the market. And that's where the problems are coming. That's when we run into trouble with, are we really cooperating with other brokers? Are we really following Article 3? And I always say, what's your conscience say? If you couldn't show a listing because somebody wasn't cooperating with you, how would you feel? The bad part about these communities and when this happens is a lot of the buyers find out, or they might drive by and see a sold sign, and then all of a sudden they say to their agent, wait a minute, you knew we wanted that neighborhood. Why didn't you ever call us on that listing? And it makes the buyer's agent look stupid because they didn't know about it.
Yeah, that was Deanne Golden's huge complaint, that it really makes buyer agents look stupid. And of course, now some of the bad listing agents go, I don't really care how stupid you look. I got both ends of the deal, which of course is the heart of the issue with this, the problem with it.
Well, and I don't care. You know what? I don't care how good a buyer's agent you are. I check the MLS every single morning and check for things that I'm looking for my buyers. Will there be something that I miss? Absolutely. You know, there just will be. We just can't be there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to look at who they really are working for. I found a couple of articles that I kind of thought were interesting. Is this a threat to an MLS? And I served on professional standards during a period of time when this mid-year legislative meeting was going on. And the MLS committee was working on it as well. So they were trying to determine first of all, what were the terms? What was a pocket listing? What was an exclusive listing? What was a coming soon? David and I talked about this, and we said, boy, back in the day when David and I started in the business a long time ago, pocket listings were never quote, quote, listings. They were just things you knew about. So my neighbor might sell his house, and I knew about it. So if you were looking for a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot Cape Cod in Minneapolis, we knew about it, but it wasn't listed. Today, the MLS committee at NAR calls pocket listings a coming soon listing. So you got to be really careful about the terms you're going to use. An exclusive listing is one where the seller says, I don't want anybody but the brokerage company that I've listed with showing this property. It's exclusive to them. And then we kind of go into, well, what does all that mean? Is it a threat to the MLS if we don't all participate? And I just heard in Chicago, there are a number of associations, large companies who have pulled out of the MLS because the inventory is so low that they don't need the other agents. And one of these days, though, David, like your little wine and water story that's in that video they're going to watch, is one of these days when that market shifts, then they're going to want you and they're going to need you. So that would be one of the things to really carefully consider. So I think that's one of the things you need to look at. And the other one is Kevin's comment. Pocket listings aren't a threat. They go up and down and the number of market fluctuates. Selling our MLS data to every company out there willing to write a check is the real threat to the industry.
Yeah, well, yep.
Well, so you know what? A lot of those other sites have coming soon sites. They encourage agents to be on them, advertising them, whatever. And when I was having breakfast yesterday with this top agent She said, it's illegal in our area, but boy, people are figuring out a way to get around it. She said, for example, an agent took a picture of a front door, just a front door, and posted on Facebook, can't wait to open this door and show you what's inside starting June 10th. Didn't say coming soon, didn't have an address, didn't have price, it had nothing. So now we call those teasers, you know? So the big debate is this going to ruin the MLS? And especially in marketplaces where there's really low inventory, that has been one of the major questions.
It's interesting. We're having a taste of what Australia's like. I've done a lot of work, Australia, New Zealand, and they don't have an MLS, so everybody kind of sells their own deal. But they also do a lot of auction where they put it on, and you know, they'll have 4 open houses over a month, get everybody all excited, and then present, and then have their auction at the end. So it's interesting. We're picking up on little pieces of both ends of their market.
Absolutely. You want to go with the next one? There we go. So then the other thing that the professional standards and the MLS people were all concerned about were these private groups. Now, I happen to be a member of the one that's up here on the screen, the Austin Real Estate Alliance. And I wouldn't exactly call it private when there are 4,263 members. You know, but the ones that are private are the ones that are concerned. This group is a fabulous group. Do you have a roof repairman who can get to me now? Who do you use for plumbing? And yes, they advertise their coming soons on there because they can in that state. They advertise their buyer needs. It's a kind of just a little club of helping each other in this marketplace. So when you've got large groups like this, that's one thing. I don't think that's a danger. But go to the next slide. I think it's the next one.
Yeah, sorry, that got kind of blurry, but
yeah, it did when I enlarged it so you could see it.
Yep.
So then coming soon, this is the inside scoop for Florida. Now notice it says this forum is only for realtors to share their buyer needs. So it's a whole new unique perspective. It doesn't say to advertise your coming soons. It's to post your buyer needs. And then if I have something coming that will meet your buyer needs, it might fit in. But what professional standards at NAR and the MLS looked at was this. Let's just say my little area in Naples, Florida has 200 homes in it. We're a little unique area. And everybody wants in here. And so we're going to form a little group of agents who sell in this area and list in this area. And we're not going to let anybody else in that group so that we have first chance on any of those listings within these 200 homes. So we all sell within our own little group, and before anybody else can find it in the MLS, we typically have it sold. Well, let's just say that the equal opportunity community at NAR started looking at that and saying, wait a second, nope, that looks like discrimination, trying to keep people out, and don't even go down that path. So that was the concern with the private groups. This one is working for the buyer. This coming soon, the Inside Scoop on Florida, I think that's how they're pursuing that. But if it was a private group of 433 members saying, nobody gets in, we just sell in this one little tiny community, and these are the people who can sell here. Now you've got equal opportunity on your back.
you don't want that.
No, don't want that at all.
Nope.
Next slide. So the answer to all of our questions that we've been asking, and I think you had some too, is first of all, is it legal or does it meet the MLS rules in your community? Somebody said it doesn't meet the MLS rules in my community. We can't do it. And I said, okay, well then don't do it. And they said, no, we figured out a way around it. Everybody's figuring out ways around it. They said, well, we go into showing time and we just block off the first 2 weeks and say it can't be shown during that period of time. It's in the MLS within 48 hours, but then we just say nobody can show it for the next 2 weeks. We block out all those time things. The seller doesn't want any showings on those days. And that's how they make that happen. It doesn't say coming soon. They don't advertise it as coming soon. But what are they doing? They're working inside their company to what? Get it sold. So it's interesting how even where it's not legal and ethical, people are trying to figure out how to do it within what they believe is a correct way to do it. Is it ethical not to share the information with other realtors? The answer is absolutely not unless it's not in the seller's best interest. It's real clear on that. So could someone take you to professional standards for Article 3 violation? Yes, they could, if they could prove that that's what was going on. Could they turn you into the Real Estate Commission for violating the law? They probably could. But you and I both know, David, people aren't sitting down, writing out the complaint and turning people in, which is why people keep doing what it is they're doing. The whole thing, in my opinion, has to do with full disclosure being made to the seller. What are the pros? What are the cons? And the seller has to make up their own mind. They have to make the decision. The agent can't say, this is how I do this, no matter what, this is how I do this, and we're going to get it sold, don't you worry, but this is how I do it. They have to know the pros and the cons, and I would have a seller sign off that they understood the pros and cons and they agreed to the coming soon, and that if it sold the first day, they were fine with that, that they knew it would limit the market, and they were fine, and they weren't going to hold anybody responsible when somebody a week from now knocked on their door and said, we would have offered you $20,000 more.
Right.
And that's where you come down to what your conscience say you should do.
Okay. Before I get to that, Marcie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just great information on this. You are definitely the #1 U.S. expert on all this, all the legal and ethical things. And I'm going to put that slide up. Is that it? I just want to make sure that's the information I took off your email, correct?
Correct.
I would encourage all of you listening and all those of you listening to the recording. Marcie does a great job on anything legal, ethical, moral, law, the whole area. And I think, Marcie, not only in the coming soons, but there's so many violations you see on social media that brokers should be aware of. And so tell me what you've done in terms of, you will come in and do a seminar for companies. Describe a little bit about how they might use your services in the best way.
I just did actually yesterday or Friday a course on social media risk management policies and procedures manuals, and we recorded that for the McKissick schools across the United States. And so what I do is I work with brokers to put together their both broker policy and procedures manuals, their operating systems, and then also what their social media and advertising compliance rules and regulations are going to be with their offices. So do they allow drones? What are the regulations regarding all of that? The things that are going to come into play with that. So that's one of the considerations that brokers might want to take into effect. Then I also teach advertising compliance courses and ethics courses that comply with all of that. If you think risk management, you think compliance, and you think having fun in a classroom, those are the things that I like to be involved in. Happy to help.
Good. Well, I would encourage everybody out there to consider Marcie for that. And, you know, with the market the way it is, and, you know, we've got a lot of agents getting into the business. Companies are recruiting more, hiring more. That's the good news. The bad news is these people don't have the experience, and maybe they don't know the right and the wrong way to do things. And I'll tell you what, you have one agent make one mistake on some of these things, and they're going to cost you 10 times more than it would cost to fly Marcie in to help your agents do it right. So I just encourage you to take advantage of her services. And before I say goodbye to everybody, I'll just see if anybody has any questions that they'd like to post. I've been kind of watching that as we go, and I think we pretty much covered every question that somebody might ask. But I'll wait a second to see if anybody has any more. And not seeing that, I'm not going to keep everybody waiting. So Marcie, thank you. That was great. Really good information. I appreciate the help you did on Knox First Tuesday number 109. And thanks for being on today.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and we can stop recording.